to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coach Show. With me now, I've head softball coach Sara Scoone. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's look back at the spring games. I'd like to divide this in two. The first 4 games, you go 1-3, but you only give up 7 runs. Just your thoughts on those first 4 games.
There's so much when you get into Florida and you're playing all these games, it's a new atmosphere. You just got off a bus. You're doing all these things to try to figure out the lineup and every sort of thing, the way that you're running your team at that time. Pitching and defense, phenomenal. Did we come out slow in the box? Yeah. Are some games going to be like that? Yeah,
100%.
And that's just how the sport works. But as far as our pitching goes and our defense and the consistency that we bring to the field each game, could not be more proud of the girls.
And because you turned around the last 4 games, you go 3-1,
right.
And the one loss you did have was a 2-1 loss to the College of St. Rose. What kind of changed, from those first 4 games to the second 4 games?
They were just more aggressive. They, instead of trying to play perfect, were out there playing hard. Mm-hmm. And, I never have to worry about the girls taking the field and taking it easy. But that's the difference between guys and girls, right? Guys want to do everything hard and fast and just want to be the best out there, and girls want to do everything perfect.
Yeah.
So changing the atmosphere into going hard and making sure that we are lighting it up, take your hacks, go for it. Let's find ways to move runners. Let's, be a little bit more versatile in the box. And that's really what helped us win those games.
And how beneficial was this? I mean, I know you go 4-4, but you get really good experience competition-wise and just experience for the girls. Just how beneficial was this for everybody?
Oh, my gosh. This is such, there's such a difference when you go and you take a trip as a team compared to when you don't. Mm-hmm. And let alone the playing. I mean, the team bonding, figuring out, what this team is made of, and seeing, our bus broke down. As a little story, our bus broke down and we went from standing on the side of the highway to winning the next game. Mm-hmm. I mean, talk about resiliency, and talk 100%. About they never complained once. They were out there. They were a team. I really could not be more proud of them. I love taking the Florida trip, and also our families and fans traveled.
You could tell on the stream. It was a lot.
We had it going on, and I am just so happy about that. And, it's always a great day to be a Pioneer. So,
And now you move into conference play, quick turnaround. You got State and Charleston this weekend. State was picked to finish 5th, Charleston first. Got to see State a little bit in the opening weekend. Just your thoughts on those 2 teams as you go into conference play.
I think State and Charleston are both phenomenal teams. It's always a battle when we play them. There's no game in this conference that comes easy.
Yeah,
you'd never walk into a game and you're like, oh, you'll win it here. You just can't do that. Mm-hmm. Not in this sport either. So I think going into this weekend, it's going to be a true testament out of what we are made of. And, to open up with 2 great programs. It should be a good weekend. I'm really excited, but I'm more so excited to see what the girls do.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Thanks so much.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coach Show. With me, I have head track and field coach Dan Meyers. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Jagger, thanks for having me.
So, Coach, been off for about a week since you had the Indoor Mountain East Conference Championships. Just, how's this last month went for everybody, especially with spring break kind of being in the middle of it?
I would say our heavy hitters trained really well through the break. I sent most of the group home for break if they wanted to, but a lot of our top athletes and some others stayed for break last week. So and got some good reps in here. And there was some great weather last week. So we've been blessed with some pretty good weather since indoor season has ended, and training's been going well. And Charlotte's not just our first test of the year, but the group that we're taking about 25 athletes. The group that's going knows how special of a meet this is, and it's an awesome campus and a venue I've been going to for over a decade now, and they know that there's some high level competition, and it's a great chance to get a good mark on the board and then just kind of tune up as we kind of go through the end of March.
And this past week, it was announced Janae and Natalie were announced all region. Just your thoughts on them and the season they had already.
Yeah, so only the second time in school history for indoor that we've ever had two all-region female athletes. We've done on the men's side a bunch, and then the other women's side was kind of the shortened COVID year in 21. But yeah, this was the first true year that we've really done it. And, I just couldn't believe, I knew how good of marks they were, to be honest with you, but I really didn't think that, Natalie would finish second in the region in the 8. And, arguably she was one of the best distance freshmen during indoor season in the conference.
Yeah.
So I would be, I'm very excited to kind of see what she does down at Charlotte. And then, with her and a few other those top girls in the conference, there's going to be some awesome races coming this spring. And then Janae, I mean, we're just scratching the surface, and kind of, I'll talk about her and then kind of bounce into some of the throwing events that we have outdoors that I think that we're going to be very competitive in. Is Janae, she's very good at shot, and Coach Johnson, our throws coach, thinks that she's just as good at hammer and disc. We're going to put her in jav. Jav last year in our conference wasn't super competitive, and we're going to kind of see maybe a meet or two kind of what she does in that. But she's planning to do all 4 throws outdoors. And yeah, she's incredible. And going into that makes us such more a dynamic team, not just on the women's side and kind of seeing what we could do with some of her and Natalie's points. But like on the men's side, we're just scratching the surface of like in disc. We have a Brandon Bowie, a Charlie Bauman, Mike Clay. We have some, in hammer, we're Christian Hanna's best event. So we're getting into some field events that, we didn't have in indoor that I think are really going to help us as a team. And that was a big chunk of the group that stayed last week, and they've been getting in some phenomenal reps with how good of weather we've been having. So I'm excited to see some of them open up this weekend.
Yeah, because you talk about the success of all of them, and I wanted to ask you, how do you feel the success that they had in the indoor season can carry over to the outdoor season?
I think a lot of it is just the quality of the reps and then the consistency of the reps as well. And a lot of that goes into the coaching aspect. Coach Johnson does a really good job to make sure that, like, if they're getting tired or they're starting to develop a bad habit in practice, we don't try to throw it out of them in a sense. Like, we're just kind of cutting it there or making one small change, getting a good throw, and like, all right, we're going to call it there. And he does a really good job of making sure that they're getting plenty enough reps, but also we're not overdoing it, which allows us to kind of make them a little bit more versatile in some of the areas. Because, I mean, Mike Clay, he does 3 throwing events. Charlie Bauman does 2. Brandon Bowie does 2. We don't have a lot of people specializing in events. Macy Hilvers had a pretty good indoor season for us as a freshman. She's going to do multiple events. So that's really nice having a throws coach that has really outlined kind of our program kind of moving into the spring.
Do you like having those like non-specialized people that you can throw in different events and they're still going to succeed?
I like having both, to be honest with you. And like Christian Hanna, for where he is in relevance to hammer to our second best guy, it just makes sense for him to throw hammer, every day, and because like where he was a good shot putter when we utilized him in that 2 years ago. But we have 3 or 4 guys that can throw better or around what he did. So when we go to these meets, we can only put in 4, sometimes 5 throwers. So taking him out of the mix allows them to get more reps. And then where he's kind of throwing hammer, I mean, he's more through like one of our former graduates 2 years ago, Brody Strauderman territory, like that 50-meter range. So it just makes more sense for him. But then we have someone like a Michael Clay that can maybe steal a point in discus. He is solid at hammer, getting better at it. And then also he scored, I think he was 5th in jav last year. So I like having both, even on the running side as well. Having people that kind of specialize in those that kind of, are a little bit more versatile for us.
Yeah. And you spoke briefly on the 49er Classic at Charlotte. Just what are your expectations there, and what kind of makes it so special? You talked about it being special and for people to really realize how good of an event it is.
I think that anytime that you go to a Division I meet, it holds, kind of a special place in my heart for our sport, because it's not, Glenville State in football isn't going to play, UNC Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, or basketball, sometimes less a guarantee game or something. And like, I think that's a cool that you'll see like Division III schools there, Division II schools there. I think first off, that makes it a huge setting. Secondly, it's a great facility. I think it really allows them to be put on a bigger stage. And it's a track only facility, and that's really cool for the athletes to see that, like, there's no football field, there's no soccer, it's their facility, which is really cool. And then along with in March here with how testy the weather is, we know that there is a good possibility this is the best weather we're going to have for another month. And we want to take advantage of that right out of the gate. Yeah. So I think all of those factors kind of make it a special event.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Yep, thanks.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head acrobatics and tumbling coach Taylor Broadwater. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me again.
So last time you competed was March 3rd against Trine. You won 261 to 229. You've had about a week and a half off. How's that helped your girls?
It's definitely given the girls some time to heal some injuries that we've had and just kind of relax a little bit at practice. It's been a lot less strenuous on their body, I will say. We've really taken things back to basics, and we've had fun with practice. Last week was spring break. We were all about cleaning stuff up, having fun while we were doing it, and I think that's exactly what the girls needed at this point in season in order to kind of get some momentum going back into this meet and finishing out season strong.
And then coming into tomorrow on Wednesday, you have the tri-meet with Kutztown, Bluefield State. First with Kutztown, they come in 3-1. They're scoring around the 246, 250 range. Just your thoughts on them first.
They're definitely a clean team. I think that they're very up and coming, and just from watching their meets that I've seen this season, I think they're continuing to improve every time that they step on the floor. So I definitely think tomorrow is going to be a good meet with them. I'm just looking for our girls, obviously, to execute and do what we know how to do. I feel good about where we're at this point in season, but definitely a good team that we're up against tomorrow.
Then you mix in Bluefield State, a newer program, scoring some lower scores. Just your thoughts on them too.
Definitely, it's harder when you're growing a program and trying to get things started. But I think for what they have and what they're working with, they're doing very well. And I'm excited to bring them into the Waco Center tomorrow and compete against them as well.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me, I have head baseball coach Jimmy Mullins. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So, Coach, this past week, you started out the week actually at UNC Pembroke, nationally ranked squad, lost 19-1. Just the issues there. What happened there?
Yeah, that was a great experience going, and it was the first time playing at their ballpark. I know their coaching staff and had a little relationship with them, but it was a great setup, great campus. It was good to get out there and play there on a midweek. Obviously we gave up a bunch of runs there. I thought we would have more arms available. We're going through a little spurt here where we're down some. We've got four freshmen come in that need surgery, things like that. But those are all just excuses. But it is what it is. We weren't able to limit their run scoring, and they are really good. But yeah. I feel that we're pretty strong too when we play one pitch at a time, one inning at a time, and just don't think that was there for us. Our mentality wasn't there for us on that Tuesday there, and it improved throughout the weekend. As we got into the weekend there, we still gave up some runs through the weekend, but we also scored some runs. We were able to improve our offensive approach a little bit, able to do some things on the bases. We hit and run a little bit. Our top three guys there, Mason Lohr, Zach Morris, and Fabian Escalante, really being tough for us at the top of the lineup. Was really impressed with Adam Bright being able to start getting into the lineup, and he ended up batting two-hole there for us in the last game.
He hit well this weekend.
Yeah, it allowed us to get Fabian and Morris down in the lineup a little bit where they could hit with runners on base. So that really helped. And I talked to Adam earlier a couple weeks ago, and I said, us being down arms right now, we just need you to be in the bullpen and being able to pitch for us, because he's pitched great for us. And told him he's not lost in the shuffle offensively, because he brings a little bit of grit to us, and he has high baseball IQ, and I really like the kid, and he brings us some toughness too there, and that worked out good with Mason and Adam Bright and Zemo and Fabian at the top of the lineup. So we got some good things going on. We definitely need to improve on the pitching aspect. We need to focus better in practice. We need to be on task a little bit better. We need to prepare a little better. But we'll do those things. That's adjustments that coaches need to make.
Yeah, because you talked about scoring runs. You went to the Wilson Tops College Classic Thursday through Sunday, as you were speaking about. You scored 14 against Clarion, but you scored 14 on just 5 hits. What was working so well for you in that game?
Yeah, so Clarion, obviously, that just a game for them where their arms weren't throwing the ball in the strike zone as much, and we weren't swinging at it out of the zone. Yeah. So we were having trouble earlier in the year, just kind of we were getting into advantage counts, which is for hitters, an advantage count is when you got 1 ball, no strikes, 2 balls, no strikes, 3 balls and 1 strike, and we look at an advantage count as the first pitch too, no balls, no strikes. But we're getting advantage counts and just swinging at everything, and we did a better job there, just taking what they could give us. And really there at the last game this weekend, we did a better job of taking what they give us too. And we faced a really good arm from Wheeling, left-handed guy. He's really crafty. He doesn't walk a lot of guys, but we were able to do some things on the bases and work some counts and have a little bit better focus at the plate, and it showed.
Yeah, because you turned around on Friday, a doubleheader against Clarion and Wheeling, lost. You lost 16-11 in that Sunday matchup with Wheeling, like you were talking about. You had that big inning where I think they had 11 runs in one inning. What can you do, from the coaching perspective, just to try to lower those a little bit more to stop the bleeding sometimes with these big innings? Yeah,
so just like I told them after the thing, it comes down to us. It comes down to me. We have to prepare them better somehow. That's my job, and I'm always brainstorming, trying to figure it out. But sometimes, just like I told them, I said I have to have some guys that I can trust to put in there that's going to have good body language and a good face and not be scared. And you can't go in looking like you're about to face Mike Tyson in a 5-round fight. I mean, nothing that serious is going to happen out here. Just throw the baseball into the zone. So we got to find guys that can do that. And we have them here. We just got to pump them up throughout the week, and we got to coach them mentally, and we got to do a better job on the coaching aspect of getting them ready to go. Excuse me. But we have it there. We just got to figure it out. The middle innings are killing us right now. Our starters have been giving us some quality innings, and when the starters give us good innings, the hitters respond, defense responds. We have to give some guys out of the bullpen the third of baseball.
Yeah, because looking into this weekend, you start conference play. It's like a whole new season all over again. Start with Fairmont on Saturday, Frostburg on Sunday. Frostburg really good last year, going to be good again this year. What do you expect, out of your guys this weekend on the road to open up the conference slate?
Yeah, the good thing about playing all these non-conference games before the season is we're able to mix and match guys in different roles and get them some experience, because our bullpen really doesn't have a whole lot of experience, and we've got some guys in our lineup that don't have a whole lot of experience, but it takes experience to get experience, and that's what these early games did. So the goal this week will be to continue our training, to pump up training a little bit, make it a little bit harder than the game, and just to pump us up mentally that, we already have some experience here. We're no longer freshmen, or we're no longer inexperienced. Some of you guys have 30, 40 at-bats already. Some of you guys have faced 20 batters already. We just got to take that into the approach that it's a whole new season now.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head wrestling coach Dylan Cottrell. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, fun time of the year. NCAA's actually getting ready to leave here in about 2 hours, so excited.
So, Coach, you had 5 guys qualify. Just walk me through how the past week plus has went for those guys and training and all that.
Yeah, so our training, you'd like to, just go right into it and kind of roll off of our taper, right? But with the 2 weeks, you got to get right back into training hard again, right? You got to ramp up again to be able to taper. So our taper started officially today, right? But the last week has been really tough, right? We came back, they got a day off. They came in Monday, we did a 2-a-day. Right, they come in Tuesday, and a couple of them are like, "Man, it feels like we wrestled a tournament again." Right, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
So Thursday, Monday through Friday, right, or Thursday, we really wanted to say beat up the body, right, but put them back in a position where they're getting pushed, right, and ramping up that training, and it's been really good. We've went injury free, haven't really had any nicks, even small nicks, right. We've maybe had lingering stuff that we've continued, right, to push through and be smart with or whatever it is. But now it's that cruise control. So very happy with how healthy we're going to be going in. Very happy with the training. That at this time, they're ready physically, right? The
mental side now.
The week of hard training is great. It's a last little push, right? But in the hindsight of things, right, there's not a whole lot of matches that are going to be won right now, or shouldn't be, right, by the physical shape someone's in. Right now, it's a lot of weight cut, right, controlling that weight so you feel good, putting things in, not just the day before, right, of getting that weight down early right now so they can feel good. We talk a lot about if you're spending the last 24 hours not eating, right, that first match is going to be more of a struggle, right? Because some of these guys, they go 24 hours and they're like, it's okay, right? We got a 2-hour weigh in. I'll put food in and I'll get energy from that. That's not where your energy is coming from in your first match,
Unrealistic.
right? It's not going to get digested, right? That ATP and power output that you need in your first match, right, is going to come from the thing you ate the night before, right? Where you slept, it was stored energy, right? And that's going to be your pop, right? So some of our guys, right, early in the year, they're starving for, 36, 24 hours, right? And doing it later in the week. And I told him, you got to do this early. You got to get down early. And if that means you got to skip a meal or skip a day of eating on a Monday, right? So you don't have to do it on Friday. That's what you have to do. And our guys didn't understand that, right? They wanted to stay up high, right? And then come down and crash and then not eat for 24 hours. And they wonder why they wrestle like crap in the first match. You don't got no power, right? You have to have ATP in your body, right? Your power source to put it out. And that comes from what you're eating the days before, the night before. So our guys are getting that better, right? And then, like you said, the mental side is obviously huge, right? We talk about it a lot of they should be writing down, whatever weight class it is, national champ, right? Every day. That way they look at it, right? When they wake up, they look at it when they go to sleep, right? And they got to kind of change that neuroplasticity in their head too, right? And tell themselves that, hey, I'm the best, right? I'm the best in the country right now. I'm going to go there. I'm going to win, whether I'm unseeded, right? Or I'm the number 3 or the number 5 seed, right? And it's really easy to change those neurons, right? You just have to have that positive self-talk, right? People don't understand how easy it is to actually, and how much it helps, right? Of just being positive and talking, right? Lots of studies out there of taking teams and ones that are being negative, right? And negative talk to positive talk just in their head, right? And what it actually translates to in performance. And it's crazy, right? And so we talk about that a lot on how important it is. Even if you're lying to yourself, right? Your brain won't know it if you keep being positive. Right. You just gotta die with the lie sometimes, right? In that mental battle, right? And make sure that you're telling yourself consistently that you're the best, right? And
you'll believe it after a while.
Exactly. And they'll get there, right? And then when the results come, it helps even more, right? But you might deep down know you're not the best, but you got to keep saying it out loud. Right. You got to keep tricking your mind into it, hearing it all the time. Yep. And, it's huge. It's huge. So, that's going to be the big thing. Those are the two that are going to separate people this week. Cause there's a lot of classes with 10 guys in the class that could be the national champ, right? Who's going to control their weight? Who's going to do the hard things, right? That they don't want to do the best. And it's going to matter.
Cause you spoke about the training coming up. Now it's traveling, getting down there, the experience. What's that going to look like for you guys now as you head to Wichita and get ready for Friday? Yeah,
so kind of the itinerary for us is that, right now it's Tuesday, midday. We're getting ready to leave to go to Pittsburgh. We'll sleep in Pittsburgh, wake up in the morning, head to Wichita, right? We'll get to Wichita about 3 or 4 tomorrow. We'll get on the mats, registered about 6 or 7, get a team dinner, kind of a nice little team bonding, get some good sleep. And then Thursday, it's going to be, getting our weight under control, but letting the guys kind of go do some stuff, maybe go do stuff with us or on their own, check out Wichita, just kind of relaxing and getting used to the area, right? And then Friday, Saturday's go time. It's time to go, get serious. Or get focused, not so much get serious, right? Get focused on the task at hand, and just put our best foot forward, right? Not worry about the results, worry about competing to our best ability, right? Putting our best product out there. That's all I'm really asking for. I could care less if all 5 of our guys went 0-2, right? Or if our guys, all 5 won a national championship. It's how they do it, right? It's how they wrestle. You can have a really talented guy win a national title and win it wrong. And that's amazing, right? But at the same time, that's not what we want, right? We want our guys to not fear the form of failure, right? And also not put being an NCAA champion on such a pedestal that it's a tangible thing or non-tangible thing that it becomes a detriment, right? So we talk a lot about just giving our best effort, competing rather than worrying about results. If the 5 guys do that, right, it's at least going to be the best possible outcome that they can put out there. And that's all we can ask for, right? And they'll be much happier if they go and do that, even if they go 0-2, right? Because they know, hey, I put out the best and what I worked for so hard all year, I put out my best product out there. Maybe it wasn't enough today, and that's okay. That's life, right? It's not always going to be the best, right? You're not always going to be the best at everything, right? And no matter how hard you work, and that's life. It happens sometimes, right? But you got to put your best foot forward, and that's what we're really looking for, at least coaching staff wise. That's what we're looking for.
And the brackets were released late last week, actually. Kyoto, I believe, was the only one that got seeded.
No, Guy got seeded too.
Guy got seeded as well. What are your expectations out of these? Some of the guys have to wrestle early. Some guys get some favorable matchups. Just what are your expectations there?
Yeah, so you have Brady Ross is in the prelim. He's our one in the prelim. So would really like to win that one, and that sets himself up a lot better in the bracket. Gavin Shamblin and Nick, they both didn't get seeded and got high seeds. So Nick has the number 1 seed and the 2-time returning national champ, and Gavin has the 2 seed. Now, on paper, those are hard matchups, and they are, right? Win or lose, though, I think they're in a pretty good spot in the bracket, right? If they lose, to come through the backside, right? And if they win, they obviously steal that seed, right? And put themselves in a really good position. So even with that being said, that they got the 1 and the 2 seed, I don't hate the draw for them. Now you move into our seeded guys, right? Guy has the 5 seed. Wrestles a kid that he's beat in the first round, all right? And wrestles, if it stays drawn, right, to chalk, right, the 4 seed would be the second, a guy he lost to 8-6, and a very winnable match. And I also think Guy is a lot different person than he was when he wrestled that kid.
Yeah, you even spoke about that last week, about how he's just changed.
Yeah, when he wrestled that kid, it was one of his, I think it was his second weigh-in ever down at 57. He transitioned in the year. He's a lot different now. This past weekend, right? He lost 2 weeks ago, 8-4 to a kid. He beat him 11-4 to make the national tournament. So very excited about his draw, right? He can be a national champ. He really can, right? And if he doesn't go in there focused, he could end up off the podium, right? So you just got to be ready to go. But the draw favors him, if you're into looking at that, and same with Kyoto. Kyoto got a great draw, right? He got the 3 seed. He won the national title out of the 3 seed last year as well. He has someone that we haven't wrestled the first round. Kid's a little dangerous, right? But I think Gavin's a very put together wrestler. I think he'll stay out of kind of those danger zones with him, and he's a lot better wrestler just overall. So if he does that, should be fine. And then the 6 seed, we really liked who got that. Nothing against this kid, right? I'm sure they're not going to hear this, but I don't think the kid is the 6th best wrestler in the class. I really don't.
It happens.
And so, I liked that draw. I like that draw a lot, right? The 7 seed, in my opinion, was a lot better and a lot more of a stylistic matchup, like bad matchup for us. So he's down there with the 2. And then, Gavin in the semis, then he would have either that 7 seed, right, or the 2 seed. And the 2 seed is who we beat last year in the national finals. So that's not a bad route, right, to the finals if you're looking at it on paper. And then, most likely, he makes it to the national finals. He'll have Hickson Ball, who beat him this year 4-3, right? And so that would be nice to get another crack at that one, right? So our 2 seeded guys, the brackets can go so many different ways, but I do like their draws, right? It's all about, though, I don't like talking about this, but people that listen, they're going to want to hear that. They're going to want to hear the full way through and how it could happen.
How it really goes, yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, right, all we're worried about for our 5 guys is those first matches, right? After this,
that's step 1.
After that, all the stuff I just talked about will not be talked about until we win the first match or lose the first match and we find out who our next guy is. So that's my opinion on how it could go. Obviously, when you get to any NCAA tournament, I mean, for people, who follow wrestling or basketball, the tournament time is always crazy, right? It's always upsets. And a lot of that is because that mental side, right? People wrestle tight or they play tight, right? Because it means something to them, right? More than it maybe should, because they work so hard for it and they, it comes to detriment. So you're going to see a lot of fireworks, right? And hopefully we're the one causing the chaos and it's not the other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be cool.
One last thing. Do you think that Gavin Kyoto with his, because we talked about it before, he's a chill, calm guy. Do you think his experience last year, being a national champion, being able to perform under that pressure, do you think that helps not only him this year, but the other guys? He can walk through like, hey, this is what it's been like for me in the past.
Yeah. And I mean, Guy was there last year and The other 3 are new, but you got Nick, who's an older guy, right? I think he'll be okay. So again, I think they'll be all right. We've talked about it a lot, right? And the times that we were supposed to step up and the bigger times, conference, national duels, regionals, our guys wrestled better, right, than they had before. So I'm expecting the same, right? Speaking on Gavin, he is very relaxed. That's one thing, I wish I could have been as relaxed, at least on the outside, right? I don't know really what's going on the inside, but he says, that he doesn't get nervous for matches. That could have never been me, right? I might have looked cool on the outside, right? But I had the internal butterflies and I was fighting the anxiety. I really don't think he does, right? I think he just, he really trusts in the man above and he knows he's wrestling for a higher power than just, him. And I think, with that mindset, he's just kind of able to go out there and let it go.
Yeah.
And he's wrestling the best he's wrestled all year, right? He's got his weight under control. He's getting to his leg attacks more than he was all year consistently. So he's doing the right things. I think he'll be that much more calm. And if he does make the national finals last year, I think that was the one time that he did wrestle a little nervous, right? And he'll say that. So I think when we're talking about that experience, that could be a place. I don't really expect anything too crazy out of him in the first couple rounds, but I think getting back to that big stage this time, he's already done it once. I think he'll be a lot more relaxed if we make it there Saturday.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and I think good luck this